Hey everyone, welcome to episode 8 of the Webcomics Hubcast, season 2. Season 2. We love season 2. Like Patreon, but not like Patreon. Don't worry, we'll cover more of that later. God, I love that we're 9 streams in, 8 full episodes in. We're still doing strong. We're mostly weekly. It's just been really good. Season 2, let's go. I want to Let's start with today's obvious, easy conversation. Easiest conversation. Also, hey, Empress Animations. Easiest conversation of the day. You guys heard about what happened with Oni Press? You guys heard about what happened with Oni Press and how they're seemingly imploding. I haven't given this a ton of time. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been mega busy, but let me just give you guys a little breakdown. Oni Press is a comic book publisher that is, I think, currently owned by Lionsgate. I think I'm trying to remember who they're owned by. But I know Oni Press is a comic book publisher. They're an independent comic book publisher from America. I think they work out of Oregon. Oni Press itself started in 1997, so they're about 25 years old. And they merged at some point with another company called, what are they called again? Forge? Something? Lion Forge Comics. And they merged with Lion Forge Comics about a few years, not that long ago, I think. And Lion Forge itself is 11 years old. I don't know if they actually own, like if Lionsgate actually owns them. I'm trying to remember, but it's a lot of information in my brain. I think I'm confusing Lion Forge with Lionsgate. So ignore the Lionsgate statement. Let's just treat Oni Press as an indie publisher on their own thing, doing their own thing, unbothered, moisturized, living their best lives, right? So that's Oni Press. They're an American independent comic book publisher. They do graphic novels too. They're big in the space, right? They're big in the space. That's what really matters about them. Recently, they've been firing a lot of their employees. Also, if you want to, actually, no, before I go on, if you want to know where you know Oni Press from, I think, yeah, they did Scott Pilgrim. I know they published some of the Invader Zim comics. I know they published Scott Pilgrim. I know they published a lot of the graphic novels for Rick and Morty. And I think they did The Bunker, which is what I also know them from. But like they've been around is my point. They've been around, right? Oni Press themselves are currently seemingly imploding. So last night, after firing a bunch of employees and letting go of a bunch of employees, they put out a press release. Let me see how many employees they fired last week. Let me just be sure before I say something that isn't true. They fired a whole bunch of employees and a bunch of editors from the company. Yeah, at least 4 of them tweeted. The company, I think, at its peak had a staff of about 70 plus, so not like a crazy number of them. But like, yeah, they fired a lot of their employees, and as far as has been said in the press right now, there's only a skeleton crew of 2 people. A skeleton crew of like 2 or 3 or 4 people, not that many. Skeleton crew, like a real skeleton. And there's also been talk about them switching from creator-made work to only internally owned IP, and we'll get to that conversation later. What I want to just read right now is I want to read the press release from Oni Press and Lion Forge following the firings. And this is what they tweeted out in an image. They're like, with wildly sensationalistic rumors circulating and false information spreading, we'd like to reiterate that recent personnel changes at Oni Lion Forge Publishing Group were made with the sole purpose of evolving the company and brand and positioning it for long-term success. We're proud of our long history in the business and continually strive to be better and do better. We started Lion Forge Comics 11 years ago, specifically to make great creator-driven content. and Oni's history is 25 years in the business. Within a new framework that is being worked on now, we remain committed to publishing groundbreaking content, embracing pioneering creators, and advancing authentic diversity and inclusion. We see an incredibly exciting future, not just for the company, but for our fans and content consumers worldwide. That's their statement. And I should say that their director of publicity, Tara Lehman, isn't working there. So nobody knows who actually wrote that. At least none of us outside know who wrote that statement. Tara wasn't let go. Tara actually was always going to be leaving to a different company. She was not part of the firings. But like their marketing manager, Henry Barajas, isn't there anymore. And their VP of marketing, Alex Segura, isn't there anymore. So, who freaking wrote that? Fuck knows. And Oni Press has been in the headlines a lot recently, like a lot. Recently, their former owners were ousted from the company. And they were ousted by their parent company, whose name is Polarity. And a lot of other employees departed voluntarily when they left, it seems, or as a result of them leaving or for other reasons. And right now they're in the news. They're also in the news because they're also in the news because their recent, what'd you call it? Yeah, it's probably a template, to be honest, with the apology. But they're also in the news because one of their more recent comics, Genderqueer, a memoir, it's a graphic novel that got released recently. It's currently dealing with an obscenity lawsuit in Virginia because of Republicans. Don't really have much else to say about that one, to be honest. And there's also been Oni Press. There's also been allegations of Oni Press not paying comic book creators. They're currently being challenged over what are called non-payment allegations, or what people are calling non-payment allegations. It's just a lot of shit's going on, if I'm honest with you. Like it was brought up by Christina Steens, the person who made the comic book writing template that we talked about a few episodes ago. And like she was bringing it up and saying like a lot of people are cheering them on to. She said in a tweet, she was like, "I know a lot of people are cheering on Oni Press to have Maya's back while her graphic novel Genderqueer is being challenged and hit with a lawsuit. But if you are an Oni Press creator, you need to ask for royalty statements and make sure you're not missing a dime. Speaking as an Oni creator, I can say with confidence that many people are owed money. With the leadership being fired, creators are not in a good spot. Please protect yourselves with a paper trail. Haven't gotten a royalty statement, but your book's already been published? Don't wait. Email them. Wait longer than 30 days to get paid? Don't wait. Waiting longer than 30 days to get paid? Don't wait. Email them. If your editor or contact person has been fired, DM me, and I'll give you the most updated email contact. We can support Maya and Genderqueer, but we can't look past the fact that Oni Press isn't paying their royalties. So that's fun. I love this industry, guys. Did you know that? I love comics. So yeah, like Oni Press is under a pile of shit, deservedly. And while underneath that pile of shit, they are continuing. They're seemingly continuing to dig a hole so that you can fit more shit above them. It's really fucking weird. Currently, what do you call it? Currently, they're while operating with their skeleton crew, it seems that like there's no one you can contact there. It's a bit weird to me that a company that's all in all about 25 years old is going to like shoot itself in the foot, right? But then there was something that really interested me, and I'm trying to find where it is. There was a tweet. It was one of my tabs. Sorry, somebody said that they that they have heard on good word that Oni Press just does not want to work with creator IP, and they want to work with like internal, like they want to work with like outside IP. Basically, you want to publish outside IP. They want to work with internally owned IP. They can just like hire someone to draw and then like fuck off. Even Renfame, I should say somebody something quite funny for me. They were like, the Oni statement, the statement I read earlier, has a lot of feelings of please stop yelling at my IP farm. It seems that Oni is acting as an Oni's IP ownership is Oni's relationship with the IPs that it licenses or owns are funny. I'm trying to find the comment. Where is it? Where is it? Why can't I find it? Sorry, I just it's gone. It was in one of my threads and it's just fucking gone. But essentially what it boils down to is Oni Press wanting to put out more content that is internally owned. That's what it seems to boil down to at this rate. Oni Press wanting to put out content that is internally owned, internally managed, all done in-house, basically, which is something that we've talked about that Webtoon wants to do, I think. We talked about that last week. And as such, they're kind of eschewing all the stuff that they don't internally own. They're like during this transitionary period, it seems that they want to get rid of like that whole process of reaching out to creators and getting creator IP and just going, we have stuff internally, we can develop stuff internally, we can do our own thing, we can make our own money inside. And there's nothing wrong with that in and of itself. But when you're not paying your creators, when you're suddenly firing people without letting anyone know, when you're putting out strange statements that haven't been edited and or read, probably because you fired all the editors, it's a little bit weird, right? It's just a little bit freaking weird, and it reeks a lot to me of a company that is changing its entire business model based on okay. Before I even say the statement, I need to explain something. Do you guys know what the platform economy? Do you guys know what platform economics is? It's the Uber thing. It's the Uber economic system. It's a thing where you take a company and you run it at a loss, right? You run it at a purposeful loss because instead of spending all the money you have into improving relationships with the people that work for you or improving relationships with other creators or anything like that. And I'll address that question in a second. Oh, actually, no, just do now. Enigma, they're not. We just talked about something similar with Webtoon a little while ago. I'll get to it. Essentially, instead of the platform economics is like instead of spending all your money improving internal relationships with the systems that you already have, you aim for uncontrollable growth. You essentially take all your money and funnel it into anything that will help your business grow, right? You spend all of that money on anything that will help your business grow, that will force your business to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And a lot of companies, especially in the comic space and anything relating to tech, are embracing or have embraced a model like this, where you operate at this loss and you try to get bigger and bigger and bigger entirely because you want to outshadow your competition. You want to be the only competition. You want to create an environment where there are people trying to take the pie from you, but they're all too weak and small to affect you in any meaningful way. You can see it with Uber. What Uber did was massive expansion into literally every city, paying at some point Uber, there's a documentary that came out recently about Uber. They were paying for rides out of pocket. Tons of rides that you were paying for were you weren't even really paying for it. Uber was paying for it because you were just funneling money into their loss pile, right? Their pile of incredible loss. And Uber was paying for it out of pocket and losing money every year on year, muscling their way into every city, into every major city, into every major taxi area. And then now you go to a place and there's nothing but Uber. And now that they have that leverage of you have no other option, right? You have no other option, right? They start to rake in incredible amounts of money off of the money you give them, your data that they can use to mess around with you and hike prices up and all that stuff. Like if you think about how in America, in like California, if you live there, Uber search pricing is insane. They can do that because they have full awareness of every single person driving on the road. Because most of the people driving have an Uber account that tracks where they are. Most of the people who can like carry you around have an Uber account. That's where they are. So that's how I took a taxi last week from the airport because we didn't have Uber. Yeah. But that's how these markets work. They want to take over every major city so that it's like a situation where they are now the only game and can make infinite profit. It's a strategy that came from the tech industry, basically. Like most bad things, it came from the tech industry. And like in the webcomic space, Webtoon's doing it. Webtoon does it right now. Webtoon operates at a yearly loss. Last year, they lost a ton of money. And this year, they're set to lose another ton of money. And they're going to lose and I mean Webtoon US, by the way, is going to lose money because their whole goal is to make sure they're the only game in the English and in generally the Western market. And when they're the only game, Webtoon is free to charge you like 300, like the crazy amounts of money they charge for Girls of the Wilds, even though it's 5 years old. And when they charge for it on the daily pass system, right? They can charge you whatever they want. They can take your data, use it to make whatever they want. And a big part of what markets like that do when they're trying to take over everything is there's a point when you realize you have enough market share, right? You have a big enough market share, like 70% market share, right? And at that point where you're like that 70% market share or so, what most companies do is like that 60, 70, basically majority market share, like mass majority market share. What you do at that point is, as a company, is you start to like, if you're someone who relies on user-generated content, you start to like entirely shift to internally generated content. Webtoon's currently doing that now. We know that there's a lot of internally made content that they're doing in collaboration with DC and a bunch of internal artists and a bunch of internal workers. And remember, if you guys remember the Webtoon greenlight stuff, like just that like is an example of what I was talking about, right? They were doing greenlight to find internally made content that they could push, essentially where they wouldn't have to pay anyone more than base price, and then they could like take the comic and do whatever they wanted. No need for IP agreements or revenue sharing or anything. Let me just read some comments real quick. For somebody said, what is Webtoon doing what is Webtoon doing that is losing them money? Advertising, creator payouts, employee payouts, employee salaries. Webtoon loses a lot of money. And also the big thing that's losing them money, though, I should say, the really big thing when I was reading their thing, when I was reading their earnings report, the really big thing that's losing them money is IP purchase. So they've been buying a lot of IP recently at a higher level than usual. A lot of IP that they want to have full creative control over its distribution in the Western market, at least. Webtoon's site is terrible, but their app is good. That's what they're spending most of their money on. The site itself actually doesn't spend most of their money on in that regard. The site and the app itself don't cost that much to keep working. It's a React Native website that just runs a web browser. It's not that expensive. The only loss of money I can think of is paying their creators, which I know they don't do very much. Yeah, and the servers for user-generated content need to be quite large, but Webtoon's compression algorithm is really good, so it's not like, But yeah, they're not going to stop buying IP because it's part of the cycle. You know, when you reach a certain threshold, you need to like pivot entirely to internally generated content, because user-generated content is too expensive. Like, and if you don't believe me, let me give you a lowdown. Let me give you like an example. Let's say I'm working with you to make a comic. We're doing a thing right now. In fact, let me see if I can get a whiteboard open. We're gonna do interactive lesson, kids. Let's see if I can get a whiteboard going that can show you what I'm trying to talk about. So, excellent, whiteboard. So let's say This is the pie of the revenue. Let's just call this like revenue, total revenue. Oh, that's so bad. Let's call this total revenue that we're making. I'm making off of your IP that I bought from you, right? Let's just call this total revenue. This is my total revenue. If I'm making it myself internally, right? If I'm making it myself internally, I would pay like, let's call this like 20% of the potential of the total revenue made by the IP. I would pay 20% more or less to the artist and oh, thanks for my oval. I'd be paying 20% to the artist, right? To the artist I hired to draw it. The writer and artist duo or individual writer artist I hired to write and draw my internally made IP, right? And when it comes to marketing, I'm spending maybe another this off screen, another off screen again, another 20%, right? I'm spending 40% of my total revenue. It's not look like 40. I'm spending 40% of my total revenue on marketing and paying the writer and artist, right? And then the rest of my money, the remaining 60% is mine to keep. It's just me, right? And because everything was done internally, I could probably reduce the cost of everything here by quite a bit. Maybe by hiring an artist on a salary instead of hiring an artist on a revenue per. I know those lines are real thick. I need to change the thickness. Instead, maybe hiring the artist on a salary instead of hiring the artist on like a commission basis, you can reduce the cost a lot. Is my point when you control the entire process of how the sausage is made, right? As someone who's read a few Webtoon contracts and has spoken to a few people inside Webtoon, you're right. They're very obtuse. It doesn't matter what pie this is. Leave me alone. Why do you people bully me? I'm trying to show you a thing. But like, if I was making a Webtoon original and I was working with Thomas, welcome Thomas, by the way. If I was making a Webtoon original, I was working with Thomas, right? I would probably be paying like, this is my 20% I pay to Thomas to draw it, right? Let's say I work that much, right? Like this is my my 20% for marketing, right? And I would be then doing a further, and I need to change the thickness of that, a further maybe 20%, right? In potential other revenue streams that I might do. Anything from like the fast pass payments or any other payments like merch sales and other stuff. Basically, about 60% of my total revenue from the product goes away from me, right? It goes away from me. It goes into other shit that doesn't give me overall revenue. When you're working with Thomas, because you have to pay Thomas every time you do something, you have to pay Thomas every time you use his IP, you give him a bit of your money. You have to give him a bit of your money. And the amount can be quite large, depending on how influential Thomas is. If Thomas is like freaking Sarah Scribbles, he can command a lot of money from you. If Thomas is like me, he ain't gonna get shit. But it's still money they don't want to have to give away from you. So like that's where I was coming from in terms of that, like why internally, why companies like Webtoon and Uber would do the platform economics of eventually I need to start making internal content entirely. I need to start controlling my entire content stream. I need to reduce the amount of money I'm spending on content by making sure that I have total control of the entire process instead of paying some outside person who wants to be paid really well and wants to earn, who will probably command most of the money for the IP. I want to make all the money from the IP. So I start making internal content. Oni Press is what Oni Press looks like they're doing, especially with their parent company. The parent company called again? Priority? No, Polarity. That's what it was. I know you were paid by task, Thomas. I know how they pay you internally. I was just talking very specifically about a type of macroeconomics to do with a company like Webtoon as they expand. I was talking about actual creator contracts. That's not how actual creator contracts work. I should say that out loud. They're a lot more nuanced than that. There's a lot more going on in them. And the day I can do a creator contracts episode with the 3 that I have sitting in my hard drive right now, I would, but I can't right now. Not right now. I would love to, but not right now. Anyway, so like when it comes to companies like Oni Press and the parent company Polarity, from what I understand, it looks like what they're trying to do essentially is get Oni Press to be. They think Oni Press commands enough market share that they think they can make Oni Press more profitable. That's what it looks like. It doesn't look like they're running out of money, because I tried to find their earnings reports. I tried to find the earnings report and I looked it up, and I looked at how much they roughly pay every employee average based on publicly available information. It's not super accurate, obviously, but from what I understand and from what I think they're paying every employee, which is about, I think, $60,000 on average. And that average is an average. So remember, like, that means somebody's making a lot, somebody's making very little. It looks like what Oni Press is trying to do essentially is go, well, we're paying a lot of money. Most of it's to manage a bunch of external people that we don't even want to have to deal with. What if we just didn't have external people? We command enough market share, people know our name enough, Oni Press enough, that we can just sell directly to consumers with internally made content, not bother managing a bunch of external people, hire one like pit boss, one manager to manage like all the artists, one manager to manage all the writers, and like just produce internally made content. No need for 1,000 editors. We just need like 4. Overwork them. It doesn't matter. It's the art industry. It's not that strange. It looks like that's what they want to go for. That kind of working environment. I'm saying that because I've seen that happen before in creative spaces. I've seen that happen before in game spaces, like small game places that I know about. Instead of managing a bunch of outside people, just focus internally. So it looks like that's what they want to do. And Webtoon's already kind of working their way towards that with the people I told you about that we know that work for Webtoon right now, making internally made content. It's a license that seems to be wholly owned by Webtoon, or at least the Webtoon DC collab. So, yeah. Let me just read what everyone's been talking about in chat. In my case, do you think the extra attention they're giving to Canvas comics lately, and they're constantly pushing new originals, is part of their whole enticing people to join and trying to become the only platform? Yeah, actually, a big thing that these platforms do, especially if you deal in user-generated content, is you need to make sure that you have enough users coming to you with a dream, and then you can kind of users coming to you with the desire to make money from you, right? Or to make it big, or to publish their story with you, because what that allows you to do is gain more and more users. Like that's what it does. It allows you to gain more and more users. And the more users you gain, the bigger market share you control. Even if they never make money, as long as you have enough of them making money that they can like think it's still possible, you're okay. Upping Canvas creators does not attract readers. I should just say that now. Promoting Canvas creators in the current structure and way Webtoon is structured right now does not advance their user base. It does not gain users. It does not. Which is a little bit sad to say. And by the time they get there, they might drop Canvas because it loses them money. That's possible. I'm not saying they will. They might not. They might have genuine belief that the Canvas section is core and integral to them. I know that is it Thailand? I'm trying to remember. There's a different region where Webtoon's operating right now, where their featured section is a lot like the feature section that we're beginning to get, which is overloaded with content, stuff coming out week after week after week. And like the discoverability is shit, right? There's been like that for like a while now. And as far as I understand it, the Canvas section is there, but no one looks at it. It doesn't matter. It's only there to like farm some new IP, but other than that, it's an afterthought. The featured section is already too full of stuff. You don't even have time to go to the Canvas section. So they might genuinely believe in keeping the Canvas section on an ideological perspective, or they might just not care, which is effective to them not dropping it completely. You know, it might be almost that. You know, it's really dependent. I don't know what's going on inside CEO Ken Kim's heart of hearts, But I would love to know. I should send him an email and be like, hey, Ken, I'm a nobody. Want to talk? Like, they don't really push Canvas much these days. No, they don't. And then Thomas talking about how he earns. I worked on in projects made in-house, and artists like me just produce it. Cool. So Thomas, you work in that space. You worked in the in-house projects. So they just paid you, and you had I'm assuming you had a boss. I'm assuming. In fact, Thomas, I would like to talk to you more. If you have Discord, can you DM me? If you join our Discord, discord.webcomicshub.co.uk, can you? I'm probably at the top of the sidebar. You can DM me. I have some questions I might want to ask you. That'd be cool. Or I could give you my email. You can email me. Whatever works for you, buddy. I don't mind. Let's see. Would you say if you're new to Webtoon as a creator to try a different platform but still try Canvas anyway? I'm going to give you the most depressing thing I've ever said to anybody. You probably should still try Canvas anyway. The sheer volume of people Webtoon commands is nothing to scoff at. Like I was, in fact, I'm going to look now and see, because they update their media blog, their media document every couple of weeks or so, every couple of months or so. Right now, Webtoon reaches 82 million monthly active users worldwide. Like, people who, and these monthly active users, like most people who visit Webtoon about 3 times a week and spend about 30 minutes every time they show up. Like, that's crazy. Those are crazy numbers. If that doesn't like fuck with you at all, just let me contextualize it for you. YouTube gets like, I think it's like YouTube's monthly active is like 2 billion people or something. I think it's like 2 billion people. Like YouTube, people who show up on YouTube watch about 30 minutes of content per visit. Like, watch about 30 minutes of content per visit. They visit a lot more often. But like, it's a lot. If you're new to Webtoon, I'm sorry. There's nothing I can really say to you other than I'm sorry. It really doesn't, especially since Canvas has events to only get a small week of attention. I'm one of those Canvas creators, and once the event is over, so are the views. Yeah, I have a lot of friends who get those. They get the views for the small amount of time, and then they just kind of all go away. I am very sorry that this is the system that you're living with right now. I'm very sorry the system that you're living with right now. We're struggling, kids. We're struggling. Platform economics are weird. Like, when you realize how much power a platform wants to control, how much power a platform controls internally, it can get really fucking wonky. And I think what I'm a little bit worried about, and here's the thing I say it a little bit, I'm very, very slightly worried about. Like, the likelihood of this happening is like none, right? But this is something that's just in my brain that's been getting to me a little bit. And it started today because I've been staying, my partner is here, so we've been watching videos. And so I watched a Roblox video from people who make games earlier. And in that video, something that reminded me of is that in Roblox, the developers who make the games, when they get paid, because you can actually make money from Roblox, they get paid with Robux, like internal money, like system internal money. And I think why that's fucking with me a little bit is I'm like the fact that that's not illegal means that because it's not illegal for them to do that, right? Means that more and more companies, especially ones who are related to the tech space, might see that as a really meaningful way of paying people. And I don't want to go down a whole rabbit hole of explaining why it's bad or why companies would want to do that, because there's decades of history about why companies want to pay you with internally owned money. But it's not going to happen. But a little bit of my brain, as like Webtoon continues to expand, is afraid of like one day Webtoon just paying creators in like coins. like honestly, that's just a little bit of my brain is a little bit afraid of Webtoon paying creators in coins. Do I think they'll do it? Fuck no. But like, it's something that's in my mind now. Canvas needs a better search function, like a tag system would be nice, like on Tapas. Tag systems are actually notoriously easy to manipulate. I wouldn't use a tag system, but I do agree with you. They need a better search system for sure. Like, holy shit. Canvas creators about to be paid in Toon coins, Keck. Nako, no! That would suck ass. But it is like my brain, every time Webtoon like is in the news or it trends on Twitter, and I'm like, wow, people know what Webtoon is. Like, obviously they do, but you know, when my brain really registers that information, I just get a little bit more afraid of it. And that video did not help. It made me more aware of how likely it is that it could happen. Like the Webtoon tweet with the Webtoon head? Wait, there's a Webtoon tweet with the Webtoon head? Yo, what? Hold on, let me go on to... I've basically spent, usually when I do my research, is it on the Webtoon canvas or the Webtoon? Oh, it's in general? Oh, okay, let me see. It's on our Discord server, discord.webcomicshub.co.uk. In general. Oh. Oh, that's actually kind of cute. I think I'm going to get one of those. I'm going to get one of those made. I'm going to get one of those made for me. You don't see why they wouldn't pay internally because Amazon does that. Yeah, Amazon does do that, don't they, actually? They pay with, like, internal money. Like, they make it hard to get money out. How the new tipping system will look? Dude, the tipping system is going to fuck you. Like, okay, look, I'm going to be real with you. If you're a Webtoon creator right now, I love you. I want you guys to buy a bottle of lube because Webtoon is going to fuck you guys in the ass in like a week or whenever they put out that tipping system. Like, holy shit. I have never seen a tipping system that goes onto any platform that's controlled by that platform that's going to do anything less than, say, Webtoon saying, well, because we manage all the payouts and we pay all the taxes on it, we need to take 40 to 60% of your tips. It's going to be a Twitch tip, which, by the way, if you didn't know, you could, when you subscribe on Twitch, Twitch takes, I think it takes 50% of that subscription. If you do the channel memberships on YouTube, YouTube takes 52% and I get 48%. No, yeah, it's the other way around. YouTube takes 48%, I get 52%. Although I don't have that yet, but hopefully soon, right? So like, it's just, get ready for it, kids. Is it gonna be like Tapas Inc? Tapas Inc is incredibly confusing, so I hope not. Like Tapas Inc is very confusing. Tapas Inc is an example of company script. It's like the thing I was talking about earlier. Just internal money that you don't understand how it transfers or changes hands. It just kind of moves around. Yeah, special high up streamers, like special high up creators on any platform do get a ton of money, but they make a ton of money, but the split isn't what you think it is. The split is still bad. Like considering how much of their time they have to invest, the split is very bad. As someone, I don't want them to be richer, but I'm just saying it because I know it is. I don't want it to be like Inc. Inc sucks. Tapas Inc is terrible. Tapas Inc is like in many ways it's good for readers because Tapas Inc is a really simple system through which I can acquire a freaking through which I as a creator, as a reader can acquire a comic, but the Inc system is really confusing for creators because there's no system, there's no easy understanding of like how Inc becomes money, which is shit. Are they going to get rid of the Patreon partnership and replace it with a Webtoon tipping system? Probably not. Probably not. I don't think they would bother. It's not worth getting rid of. The Patreon partnership is like so valuable, at least not in the short term. They might have long-term goals for it, but not in the short term. And if they're going to do it, I want to be clear. Before they do anything like shitty, these companies need to convince you that it's a good thing first. So they won't like replace it with to be terrible. But they'll be like, oh look, the Webtoon tipping system has monthly tips now. That is a monthly tip system that goes through us. Oh, and the percentage is like 2% or something lower than Patreon's right now. Patreon's right now is 8%. So if they took 5%, that'd probably cover them. And like that's how they'll start. If they're gonna do that, that's how they'll start. It's just they won't offer you a bad deal to start off with. Offering you a bad deal at the beginning only makes you hate them and not use the service. From Cork's Cough. I mean, I make no money with Webtoon to begin with. Should I worry? No. You make no money with Webtoon to begin with. You know what you should worry about, Corks? You should worry about, honestly, like on a genuine level, no meme, no joke. I was gonna make a joke, but I've changed my mind. Honestly, on a genuine level, if you're not making a ton of money off of Webtoon, that's cool. What I would say you should be more worried about as a creator is how to like diversify your audience portfolio. Like as in like where your audience is coming from, you should try and have as many avenues as possible. Especially if your content can be reformatted in really interesting ways that fit different mediums. I don't know, I could be super famous any minute. I already reached 2K subs in a year. I am concerned. Okay, Enigma. All right, I'm just gonna leave you alone there. If they lose half their creators sooner rather than later. See, when Tapas does it, yeah, you're right. That's what will happen. If Tapas does something like that, people will leave. Because Tapas didn't have shit to begin with. They were still starting up when they fucked up, so like they don't have shit right now. If Webtoon does something like that, where are you going to go? Like, unironically, I'm not even trying to fuck with you. I'm not trying to be mean. I've sworn a lot in this episode. But I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be like horrible. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. But like realistically speaking, I want you guys to really think about this and give me a genuine response. Webtoon right now does the biggest possible fuck up you can imagine, right? They go full on evil corp. Where are you going to go? I just want to know. Like, I'm not mad at you. I don't think that anything is wrong with the way you're working. I don't even think it's wrong for you to think of going somewhere else. I just want to know if you know where you're going to go. If you have an idea of where you'll go. If you think that where you're going to go is going to be better. Because Tapas did exactly the same, like the shit, me saying like Webtoon going full evil corpo, Tapas has already done that. Like they've already done that before. They're just quiet now. And spam their forums. Oh, I love that. It just feel. I hope another site will fill the void. Fair enough. Like Tapas has been bad. My personal site and Instagrams. Honestly, and I never thought I'd say this, but Enigma, who almost always gives me the 1 brain cell take, is giving me the 5 brain cell take right now. So powerful. I actually love you. Good job. Jenny Toon from Jenny Toons, basically Tapas, and while there are more comic sites popping up, they still need time to create their revenue. They still need time to get revenue needed to attract creators and readers alike, especially if you're used to what Webtoons can give you, no matter how ass it is. Webtoon is like the YouTube of comics. YouTube has screwed people for years, but we're still here. I know. I still stream on twitch.tv. And somewhere else maybe, but I probably don't because I'm an affiliate. So, but you know what I mean, right? Like, I have a YouTube channel. Where the fuck am I going to go? Blip.tv went out of existence like a decade ago. Like, I'm fucked. I'm stuck here. I'm stuck here with Smosh videos and Anthony Fantano. We're just stuck here. You can do well with 4-panel comics on Reddit and Insta and Twitter, but long-form comics are not promoted by their algorithm. Yeah, you're right. Although Insta does promote multi-posts, so when you make those multiple page posts, Insta really promotes those. YouTube's still way better. We still need a YouTube for comics. Honestly, if we had a YouTube for comics, that'd be great, because I'm going to be real with you, Webtoon is not YouTube for comics. Webtoon is Vimeo for comics. Actually, no, it's worse than Vimeo for comics, because at least Vimeo treats me with respect when it takes my video down. Like, holy shit. Webtoon is worse. Like, I heard recently for the ad revenue, they're now like trying to verify every piece of content, because they need to make sure they're meeting Google standards, because they haven't done that before. And to me, that's really funny. Like, they took on the Google AdSense program, and they didn't even use the 3 brain cells required to like verify the things that they're putting through. And now that they're doing it, a lot of stuff has gotten through that shouldn't be through, and a lot of stuff isn't going to get through that might get through because they're going to be hyper strict at the start. It's so dumb. Worst things Tapas did was change the name from Tapastic to Tapas. Okay, actually, like a lot of you are really young, aren't you? All right, let me tell you guys about the Tapas thing. Oh, not young. I don't mean young like children. I mean young to the Webtoon webcomic space. Let me talk about what Tapas did. They don't know the drama, Jenny. They don't know the drama. All right, let me talk about what Tapas did, kids. Let me give you the A to Z, the 2x4, the lowdown, the skinny, the 401k, the 411. My partner is outside the door, and I think I just heard her cringe when I said the skinny. So here's the skinny on what Tapas did, right? This is a few years ago. I don't remember the exact year. In fact, I'm going to look up the exact year. This is 2016. 2016, 2017. There it is, 2016, 2017. So basically, Tapas put out an update in the 16-17 period, 2016, 2017, where they basically said, hey, guys, we want to create essentially an exclusive right system. Not exclusive right system, correction. A right of first refusal clause. So what Tapas wanted to do was this, right? If you wanted to get your work published and it was on Tapas, first you had to email Tapastic and be like, hey, Tapastic. And I think they were trying to do it to every user, not just their featured users, to every user. And I'm going to read the exact thing, actually. I found it right now. If a user desires to sell, license, exercise, or otherwise dispose of, indirectly or directly, any rights or any interest in any content posted on the platform, the quote-unquote offered right, then the user shall give written notice to Tapas Media of such desire. Commencing upon Tapas Media's receipt of such notice, there shall be a 30-day period in which the user will negotiate in good faith with Tapas Media for Tapas Media's acquisition of such offered rights. If by the end of the 30 days no agreement has been reached, or if at any time Tapas Media declines interest in the offered rights, then the user shall be free to negotiate elsewhere with respect to such offered right. What that means in a nutshell is Tapas said, look, you want to print your shit, you want to sell your shit to someone else, you want to take your shit and put it somewhere else, then you got to give us the right to tell you no. The first right to be like, nah, we don't want it, right? And it's a 30-day period of time. And they weren't applying it to feature creators only. They were applying it to everyone uploading content. And it caused a lot of people to leave. And if you don't understand why that's shitty, I want you to imagine if right now you wanted to you got a really good deal with, I don't fucking know, DC. And they were like, hey, we want to give you $500,000 for your comic. Even though your comic is a drawing of two cat-based furries kissing, right? And then you wanted to sell it to DC for that money, but they were like, oh, we want to sign it. And then you basically had to go to Tapas first. And then Tapas would see that DC was interested because they would know, right? They would hear about it. And then they could give you an offer or just waste your time for 30 days until and then after that 30 days, you could then go to DC and do your thing. And it's only a month. It's not that big a deal, but it is shitty to even do that at all. It's really shitty. It's really dumb. Tapas revoked this right. I want to be clear. Tapas revoked this right almost immediately, mostly because most of their creators left, went to their own sites, went to Webtoon, and told Tapas to fucking suck the bird, right? But just I need to contextualize for you. They're not a good company. A lot of you, I've heard more than one person come to me and be like, I'll go to Tapas. It's a better alternative. It's different. It has all these features. I'm like, yeah, it has all these features. I get that. There's still shit there. There's still shit. Wait, did DC email you? For real? Can I see that email? Can I see that email? But no, like, guys, I'm not here to tell you not to go to Tapas if that's where your heart's really set on. You know, it's not a phrase. I just wanted to say that. But I'm not here to tell you not to go to Tapas if that's where your heart's really set on. But like, you know, be realistic with me a little bit. There's no point in like, there's no point in pretending that when you're leaving Webtoon, you're going anywhere better. Like, you know what I mean? Let's not lie to ourselves. Let's just say what it is. We're leaving Webtoon because we don't like it, and we think Tapas is less worse. And if that's what you're saying, I'm cool with that. You know, if that's what you want to do, go for it, I guess. You know, but like, let's not pretend like you're just leaving the fire and going to the frying pan. You're not going from the fire into like a nice, cool room or whatever. Okay, cool. Anyway, there was a question I asked earlier, and I want to get to. And I want to get to it now. Why not? So, guys, real quick. This is like the height, because I need to leave really soon, because someone is very upset. Actually, before I go that, I'll do this. Yeah, you can use both. Before I go into my question, let me just cover some things here. You can use both. You can use Tapas and Webtoon. I told you before, please increase your audience portfolio. Have a diverse audience portfolio. Not just a lot of people, but a lot of people in lots of places that you can access, you know? Just make sure you have that. Mangadex lets you upload user-generated content. Upload on Mangadex. I'm not even kidding. Upload on like Scanlation websites. It's a good way of getting eyes on your comic if you make the kind of content that they would like. Remember, every platform has a desire. Every platform has an audience type. And if you're making stuff that fits that kind of audience, you should try and use different ways of getting at them. At the end of the day, most of us, and that I mean most of us, make fuck all on Webtoon. If let's say there's like, most of my videos get like between 400 and 500 views right now. I almost guarantee that maybe 30 of my 500 viewers make actual money that is more than the money they spend on their Webtoon. They make actual profit on their Webtoon. Maybe 30 on a good day. If you don't know what Mangadex is, it's mangadex.org. It's just a scanlation site. It's a scanlation site that has an open door policy that allows users to easily upload. Do it. Use platforms like Mangadex. Use platforms like Batoto. Get yourself outside of the Webtoon space. There are 1,000,001 ways to get your comic out there. Real quick. Okay? So like, don't just rely on the established places. Think laterally. Think bigger than you're currently thinking. Okay? Cool? Great. Also, if you make, I'm just going to say this one real quick. If you make porn, I know a lot of you do, you dirty bastards. A lot of you make not safe for work content. You should and you can release, if you make a lot of not safe for work content or majority not safe for work content, there are websites where you can post that on there, you know, where you could post that and you could just put that there. Like, not all of it, but you can put some of it and then you can put your tag and it pulls people towards you. It fully does pull people towards you. So like, don't discount your methods of getting out there. Okay? Cool? Great. And by the websites I meant like the ones that do like hentai and shit. This video is gonna get demonetized. Not like I make money off of it, but I'm about to get monetized. This video is gonna get shot. This video is gonna get shot. Oh, I'm gonna die. Me, Franzel? Never. This video is gonna get shot in the face. Anyway, on to my last question of the night, so I can leave this room and go and make breakfast for dinner. I have a question for the group, for the class, right? Do you think, would you want something, and some of you have reached out to me. And the people who made this reached out to me, and I want to kind of talk about it without being a dick. So like, there's two things I want to say really quickly. One, no matter what your opinions are on this or what I'm about to show you guys, if you're an asshole, I am gonna get mad at you, like unironically. I might not like it. It might not be my favorite thing, but I want to talk about it because I want to talk about it with you, because I was reached out to by the people who worked on this, and they clearly seem to care about this a lot, and I just wanted to have a conversation about it. Right? Cool. Great. What are the platforms for Pronzel? I can't tell you the platforms for Pronzel because they have all the bad words in them. But if you look up the Japanese word for Pronzel, for drawn Pronzel, you'll find it. They usually start there. One or two of them let you upload your own stuff. Okay? I don't want to be out here telling people where to find the Pronzel. Anyway. Cool. I'm going to show you guys something. I want you guys to be fucking nice. I want you guys to be productive. I want you guys to be helpful. Okay? Because I've got some questions I want to ask that are useful for my brain, but I think might be useful for the person who actually runs this platform too. Cool. Okay? Excellent. I'm going to transition. This is comicsperpage.com. It's a website that's like a mini Kickstarter for comics. Now, I'm not going to talk specifically about the content that's on there, but one of the things I want to talk about really is their like model. What they seem to do is they essentially allow you to basically do like a little mini Kickstarter, right? A little mini Kickstarter for your comic, maybe for a new page of your comic, or for like smaller page-based, like in-comic product. So let's say you were reaching a part of your comic that was going to take tons and tons and tons and tons of time, you know, maybe a big action sequence, right? You might be able to like come here and raise a small amount of money, 200, 300, like a, you know, below the typical like Kickstarter range of, I think it's about 1,000, right? And then take that money and do your own thing. And they approve you before you get in there. Their whole thing is internal approval processes. And I'm bringing it up because I just want to ask you guys a question, a genuine question. Does this seem like something you would use? Starting from there. And if it's something that you would use, why? Why not? Like, ignore the actual site itself and just talk to me about the premise, assuming the premise fit every other aesthetic thing in your mind. Because as a web designer, I can say a lot about this site, but it's also new from a person who isn't a web designer and is mostly caring about like the functionality of the project. They reached out to me to talk about this. I've been grilling them with questions. I think I wore them down, but I figured I might as well ask you guys just to have an understanding. And if you're gonna use it, I wanna know why. I wanna have a reason. Give me a long message. I'll read it, I promise. Oh, damn. Jenny, gay. Also, I should say I have for a few of you I've DM'd. If you're a viewer or you're watching the VOD, I probably DM'd you about this. Thanks for your responses. Oh, I know from Jenny Tunes in chat. Oh, I know what you're talking about. We talked about this. Overall, I do like the concept of helping creators campaign towards that next page of their comic. And it sounds like it's just for the love of comics. I just want to know how long this would take to maintain if it gets bigger. Because something like this does have the potential to get bigger and become something more. Personally, I would use it. I just need to understand how it would be maintained, how people would be able to make sure they're getting what they're being paid for. Cool. Yeah, I see what you're talking about. From Ink Kingdom, the idea sounds interesting to look into since people would support the comic aspect of art specifically. From Secret Pie, probably I'd use it, but I would use it so that I can hire help so I can make a comic faster. So if you're like, hey, there's this big page coming up, I want to make it quicker in a reasonable amount of time, can you help me raise $200-300 or whatever so I can pay an assistant? Cool, I get it. I would, but only for a specific project, maybe a short story or possibly for side stories. Okay, cool. So a lot of you see utility in this. I don't, personally. I'm just going to be honest. I think another thing I should say genuinely as a personal belief, one of the things that concerns me is the same thing that concerned me when Kickstarter first came out. The same thing concerned me with Patreon. Who guarantees the money? That's something that worries me. But let me just keep reading your responses. From Korg's Cough in the chat, I wouldn't, but that's because I don't like the pressure to make something when I currently do my comic as a hobby. Fair enough. And from Empress Animations, yes, as a creator, we don't see enough of this, and it's something I personally would use, not just for my own content. I would want to put out without it having something attached like Webtoon to Webtoon or others. The concern I have is using it and baiting people. How would quality control work? That's a good question. I would keep that in mind. Honestly, I would try it out, making some money from comics rather than getting the zero I get right now. There's no guarantee of money. It is, at the end of the day, up to your audience. If your audience doesn't give you money, you still end up with a big fat goose egg. I see it like Patreon, but only for comics on the comics basis. Okay, makes sense, makes sense. Is my mic quiet? Everyone's been responding to me the whole time. Is my mic quiet? It shouldn't be quiet. It should be too loud. It should be near clipping. Don't do that to me. Oh my God. It cannot be quiet again. I swear to God. Anyway. Do you like Patreon, but only for comics? You did grow another brain cell, Enigma. Love to see it. Check the audio compressor Twitch is using. Oh, does Twitch have a compressor that makes me sound like You know, I'm an affiliate. If you're someone like me who takes hiatuses often, how would someone be able to hold me accountable? I have Patreon now because I post content besides my comic, but posting to a site like this would require me to post a smaller comic. Makes sense. Oh, Thomas, it's fine. Thomas, you want to expand for me, buddy? That seems like a very cold response, which I don't blame you for, but I just want to know. I post content besides my comic, but posting to a site like this would require me to post a smaller comic. You wouldn't be posting to this site, I should say. This site mostly runs its system of like, you get the money, you publish the episode on your current site. So that's how it works. Just so we're all aware and in the clear, and no one's thinking that I'm saying that it's going to host your content for you. God. But anyway, yeah, like you're right. The thing of accountability is actually quite a big question. How do you make sure people take accountability? What legal ramifications are there for not taking accountability? Is the money held back? Is the Kickstarter reaching its funding goal? Is the mini Kickstarter reaching its funding goal? Oh, the mic is fine. Okay, cool. Thank God. Thomas, you have any thoughts on this website, by the way, just so I know? Let me see. Is the Kickstarter is the mini Kickstarter hitting its funding goal being used as a guarantee? I know that when it comes to actual Kickstarter, if your Kickstarter hits its funding goal, a lot of companies will work with you based entirely off of that and will do work for you. As in, they will work for free, but with the understanding of, oh, that Kickstarter has enough money, so we'll make our money back, in there, right? So does this work like that? Would that be a way people would work? If you already work as an assistant right now, as a person who works as an assistant, would you see this, see the funding goal reached on one of these and do work for free with the understanding of getting the money from the funding goal? Is that something that you would do? Maybe that's a way of keeping accountability. I don't fucking know. Because then they don't get the money if the work doesn't get completed, if they don't get the assistant or whatever. For me, I also do my comic as a hobby and don't want that pressure. I post bi-monthly. Now, if I had merch or something or a special event, that could work too. Okay, so you just think in general a smaller version of Kickstarter is nicer. Okay, cool. Also, bi-monthly, do you mean twice a month? Do you mean every 2 months? Bi-monthly means both. Also, did Korgs delete a comment? Did I miss it? Oh, fuck. Using Restream for chat means that when one of you deletes something, I can't read it. Oh well. I think I'd use it depending on what the project I want to use it for is. Okay, Geek Boy. All right, cool. So most of people's problems here seem to be accountability, but depending on the project, it seems like a cool idea for you. Soper Salad does not seem to have any faith in it, which is fair. Did you delete a whole comment because of a typo, Chief? All right. Okay, cool. I just wanted to know what people's thoughts were on this. I personally have a lot of little problems with it. I think that at the point in which when you're a small creator, if you're small enough that you can't make $1,000 off of Kickstarter, I know that's a lot of people. I know that sounds a little bit unfair. But if you're too small to make $1,000 on Kickstarter, I think you're too small to be doing fundraising goals. I think you're too small to be doing that. And not because I think you don't deserve money. I think you're too small to be doing that because right now your content isn't reaching enough people, isn't doing well. They do take a smaller percentage than Kickstarter does, but your content isn't doing well enough. Your audience isn't committed enough. There's something that you need to, like, I believe, modify. Personally, I believe that. And I'm going to say something to you guys because I respect you and I love you and you know that, right? Most content isn't good. Most of the reason why your content isn't doing well is one of two reasons. One, you're not hitting some quality benchmark that the audience members of the platform expect. Two, you're not making content that the audience members of the platform expect. Like, typically it's that, right? There's also other things going on, but in terms of, like, if I just gave you the two most likely things, if you're already on those two, if you've already hit those two and you're still not making money, and the third one comes in, which is you're not uploading as often as the audience cares about, you know? And I think a lot of you need to work on the things of building your audience, making that level of quality of content, and making that, and being able to upload that with that regularity. And I don't think everyone's got that solved. So I just feel like sites like this, while meaning well, have no benefit. I don't know. Let me read what else there's been. From Empress Animations, there are always going to be pros and cons, but if you're mostly new to comics in general, it wouldn't be bad exposure. It's still early to say where the funding may go, but it's still a 50-50 on creators. Okay, I see what you mean. They do take less of a percentage than Kickstarter. They take like $3. They gave $100 out from a $100 donation. They took $3, as far as I'm aware. From Super Salad, what platform is this again? It's called Comics Per Page. I didn't send you a link. I can DM you a link, Soap, right now, because, you know, we cool like that. But yeah, that's what it is. From Thomas, I think it could be useful, but personally, I would not use it yet. I think I prefer finding a way of selling the comic or having a stream of revenue so it becomes a more solid revenue. I agree with Thomas. This is another thing I didn't even think about. But Thomas is right. Like, for real, if you having a more solid revenue stream is at least should be your base minimum, something that is consistent. All in all, I don't think this platform is bad. I'm not here to shit on this platform. I'm not here to shit on the people who made this platform. They all seem nice. The person who DM'd me about this, Riffraff, nice person, lovely person. They've answered all my stupid questions. They've dealt with all of my delays. They've dealt with all of my bullshit. Like, honestly, I have so much respect for them putting in the time that they have, right? Because it takes time. This shit takes time. Even if it's like a side thing they do once a week, it takes time to manage and run. I run this live streaming platform once a week, and it takes me like 2 days to get to this point. So, you know, I'm not here to shit on them. I think that they're doing their best and they're trying to come up with things they think people would need, and that's all we can ask for in our industry. From Super Salad, I think recurring payment is still better. Recurring payments are not guaranteed. A lot of people want to pay you once and fuck off. Like, for real. A lot of people want to pay you for one product and leave. So that's a thing to consider, I think. And then from Jenny Toons, oh, no, I get what you're talking about. It's honestly a very nice concept, and the potential is teeming. Teeming indeed. I do see something coming out of it, but there are just a lot of what-ifs that need to come about. Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, cool. This is actually quite a good conversation. When I come back next time, there's going to be some new art on the channel. Not completely. This screen is going to remain the same, but a few things might change in the starting and ending screens. But yeah, thank you guys for showing up today. I want to go and spend time with my partner because she leaves tomorrow. I appreciate what you're saying. So, by the way, with the goals being really small, I think that's what most people are looking for. No, I think your points make sense. So you just took forever to type them. But they need to have some answers. They do need to have some answers. The Oni Press thing is shit. Yeah, we've talked about a lot of things. My brain is kind of melting, and I need to go spend time with someone. But thank you so much for your responses. Thank you guys for being super nice and super constructive about this. Honestly, if you guys want want to watch more of my stuff and you're watching me on Twitch right now, you can go to youtube.com/webcomics hub and watch the backdrop of things. Backdrop of things. No, same color beanie, never going to change. If you guys love what I do, love what I waste my time doing every week, and want to help me make more stuff, make more of this, or make more other content, and just help make my life a little bit easier in this process, please go to patreon.com/webcomicshub and give me some money. If I'm honest, that's really that's a good path for you to go down. And I've also got a Ko-fi if you want, and a PayPal, but whatever. And if you like what you like, please subscribe. Please hit the bell. Hit the bell, goddammit. Other than that, have a nice day. Have a nice evening. It is 11:58. Shit. I've been Nen. You've been awesome. And I'll see you next week. I don't know what I'm doing.